Give me just a minute here. And popping out the chat so I can see it back and forth. And boom. Hello everyone. As we can see, we're having, once again, I'm brightly yellow and I have a Carlton. Ah! Carlton says hi. Hello, Lauren. Carlton, why do you do that every time I start the show, huh? Yes. Okay, I'm putting you down on the floor, Carlton. Yeah. All right, now I asked in the Discord which of two potential projects I should do tonight, and one of them, Largashbur, decided to put up a straw poll. Now there's 5 votes on that straw poll, but just for the sake of inclusion, and I don't mean the term for where there's a cold shut between layers in a forge welded piece of steel. I mean, 2 projects potential are: number 1, finish the Alien from Tuesday. Now that I've got my tablet actually, working. And number 2, a set of 9 round bases that all have varying styles of, ruined terrain to them, but all came from, it's like they're 9 little sections from the same larger piece of terrain. So, for the sake of inclusion, which of those would you rather see, Lauren? Nine bases. On the straw poll, it was 5-0. Finish the Alien. Okay, so let me go ahead and make sure that I've got him prepared. Oh, that's right, I had saved it as a tool. And let's load it in, and then I'll be switching over in just a second. Okay, now 3, 2, 1. There we go. Here's our alien. Now, I reach the back of here. Oh, I hit a button on the tablet. Don't like that. Has the tablet. Actually, something I do need to do since I have changed some things. My tablet will be plugged in up here on the new computer to give me a bit more comfort with the cord. And just to make sure, yep, there we go. Tablet is working. Ah! There we go. Okay, one of the first things we got to do is we got to decide what we're going to do with the head. Because most of the shaping we have to do now before we do any work on detail. So Mark, Lauren, any suggestions on... My first thought for this head is earth sign, make him kind of bear-like. But then I thought, well, what about making him more like a gator? But then that's everyone's got reptile man. Maybe something a bit more frog-like, giant muscular frog, alien frog, not like the Battletoads, more like actually wearing a uniform and a member of some kind of sci-fi military. Do any of those ideas sound good, or would you rather see something else instead? Frogman! 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 Boop, boop, boop. I should also note that this weekend, the first show on Sunday may not happen. This weekend is Con. I will be literally coming home from Con at the time of the first show, and so therefore I might be collapsing to go sleep. Down you go. Mark, any opinion? Frogman, Bearman, Alpaca Man? Why did I do that? That was the wrong one. That was the wrong thing to push up. That's the one, yeah. Blue. If you're sitting here watching, let me know what you want to see. Want me to turn him into a frog, a bear, uh, so we have one frogman, one bearman. I know there's at least one more person watching. I'm going to count down from 20 to 1. If I don't see another answer, I'm going to flip a coin between frog and bear. Okay, so that's 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One countdown. And a Carlton toot toot. Carlton, no. I gotta put. Let me work, Carlton. Okay, you little crazy kid. Mm-hmm. Oh, down you go. All right. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and make him kind of frog-like, but not so dramatically frog-like. He is going to have some alien aspects, but by frog-like I mean he's going to have a kind of a wider mouth. No, Carlton. Kind of a wider mouth and no visible nose. So now I need, because of, right, you'll notice that where the nostrils are on the regular head, they've started to become little peaks. That's because that's an area where the geometry is denser. So what I got to do is I got to shrink the smooth brush. to smooth that out. Otherwise, all I would end up doing is turning that into a little point. And then kind of blend it over. I don't have to do it all because when I do the dynameshing, it'll clear that out. We're going to do the same thing to the ears. Oh no, just on the top of the ear. Because it'll be depressions for his hearing. There we go. Okay. Now I'm going to grab the move tool, make it about there, and grab the side of the mouth and pull it to one side and then to the other. Grab here and pull out a bit. Okay. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to correct this underarm geometry like I have to do every time. As we bring that in, it may be an alien, but if it has a totally alien anatomy, a lot of people will go, how was that supposed to be? Is that a bone or is that a muscle? So we're going to give it a bit more terrestrial anatomy than it really would. I'm going to kind of zoom down here. Okay. Now the next thing is we need to do something with that butt. So we're going to just kind of pull out underneath. And we're going to kind of smooth it out a bit. Okay. Everything else we're going to do after we dynamesh it. So we go to our geometry, and we're going to subdivide it a couple times. Oh, I forgot I had already subdivided it once. Delete lower. Dynamesh of 768. And then we're going to smooth out some of the seams that cropped in. Right in here. Smooth out this area. He is going to be wearing pants of a sort. we're also going to smooth over the pectoral area. Because again, he's going to be wearing clothing, not wandering around like some kind of naked troll. Okay. Now, as it come down, shrink in the mouse, and we're going to smooth over the nose area. We will probably add in some kind of, oh, while I'm thinking about it, we will probably add in some kind of respirator apparatus type situation. Now, this looks like I'm going to have to redig the mouth. And let's dynamish it again. The reason I did that was because if you remember, I don't know if you noticed, but right here between in the chest, at this part of the arm, and in the center of the back here, there were a couple areas that were a little erratic. I also have to smooth that out right there. Okay, now what we're going to do is use, before we do anything else, we're going to use the slash tool, stroke, lazy mouse off, and bring that down to about 15. And then we're going to draw from here. Actually, no, we need to turn that lazy mouse back on for this purpose. And that means increase the intensity to about there. And then we're going to use a shrinking down just to clean that out. Okay. That is the basic unarmored form before we do anything to the feet and that. Unarmored, unclothed. Okay. Let's bring that mouse back up. And we're going to go to our standard brush and we're going to start drawing on. Well, first, we're going to go ahead and subdivide it so that we have nice sharp details. Spines are a last thing. You don't want to put it on now and then realize that they're going through where the shirt should be. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and draw on where the collar is. Oh, I forgot to put in the focal shift. Yeah. Actually, let's go ahead and give it a full neck collar. Okay, and then this comes straight down. Okay, and there we go. We're going to bring this around. one thing I am going to do is I'm going to make it asymmetrical. By that I mean one shoulder is going to have a pauldron on it, more ceremonial than protective, and he might have some kind of device on the opposite side of the chest. And by device, I mean it could be anything from a communicator to he could have a just a symbol of some kind. He could have a badge of honor. This is a officer of the Interstellar League. Okay, and now we're going to extract it at point 2. Accept, draw, and select him, draw. Now, we go to geometry, and we dynamesh at 256. Then, and a little bit more cleaning up down here. Okay, now making this a little bit bigger because we're going to have to try and smooth it into the chest. We're going to pull it in a little bit tighter with the move tool on the chest so it doesn't have as much sudden blending. Okay, now move. Okay, we're going to grab this right here and pull it in. We're going to do the same thing around the shoulder areas. Pull it in. Yeah. I'm also going to make it short sleeve so I can do funky weird things with the forearms and hands to emphasize the alienness. Alright, now let's divide it till it's nice and smooth. Maybe one more. There we go. Select him. Merge down. Always okay. And draw. By control, draw. Instead of when there's no mask, it will re-dynamesh. So it makes things a little bit quicker. And then we're going to smooth it in here. And we're going to do it in such a way that it will, and then hit 1 to get the second thing, and it blends in better. Now we're going to do it around here. Whoop. It's shift, not control. Control is for selection, for masking. Once again, we're going to come all the way around once, and then back around twice, and then once more back up, and then hit 1 a couple times. Nice and smooth. So now he's got the collar of his shirt. Now we got to give him short sleeves. So we're going to do it this way. We're going to try it with the old-fashioned technique, which is get it at the right angle and then just that. Oh, no. Okay. Now, once again, we take it and we hit the extract tool at a 0.02, except we draw to get rid of the uh, masking. Click on him and draw to get rid of the masking. And now we dynamesh it at 256. The reason we're doing 256 for these and not 128 is because we want them to be really kind of sharp edges to the clothing. This is science fiction, not fantasy. And then on the edge facing the upper arm, we smooth it out. And and oh Lord, I can hear my mother in the other room watching, of all things, Project Runway. Okay, so we're going to subdivide it a couple times and merge down and draw. Now smooth out the edges of the sleeves. 1, 2. Come back around. 1, 2. Okay, now okay. Now we frame out and we can see where his shirt mostly is. Now we got to give him a belt, and we're going to do something with them feet, because them feet is just very abstract right now. I mean, look at that, the vague idea of 3 toes. Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're actually going to skip all that. We're going to wait, because we're going to give him a right pauldron first. And the way we're going to do that, I'm just going to do it the way I normally do. So I'm going to take and I'm going to draw on that part. And then we're going to come down from here to there. And then we're going to sharpen it a bit. Okay. Then we're going to come in from here and just kind of swoop it in. And beep. Beep. Okay. And we're going to extract this at 0.03. If you remember the usual sizes. Now we're going to make it 0.04. Make that 0.05. Accept. Draw. And draw to get rid of that. Now we're going to, what? No. Geometry, we're going to dynamesh it at 256. And we're actually going to not subdivide it yet, but we're going to use the slash brush at an add at a really low level and a really big size. And we're going to add on 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. No. Okay, we're going to bring that up. Yeah. Alright. Now, we're going to make it a lot smaller. And sharpen a bit more. Okay. Now, we're going to use layer to build up some details. No, I said layer. Okay, shrink this down a bit. Make sure it does not have lazy mouse on, and change it to drag dot. Because the first thing we're going to add on, no, that's right, I forgot, we got to subdivide it now. Okay, so we're going to, okay, we need to make it both bigger and stronger. A little bit stronger and a little bit bigger. There we go. There. And here. Then we're going to go ahead. I'm going to shrink this and we're going to draw on a bar here. And what we're going to do with this, we're going to turn on lazy mouse for that. So we can take here and sharpen, sharpen the edges. Okay, and then we're going to shrink this a little. And I want to try and get it this as close to the middle as I can. And a little bit over here. Yeah, there we go. Down there. Yes, a lot of times you'll have to sit here and read, if you're trying to go for geometric perfection and you're not using anything but your own eyeballs, very often you'll have to redo it more than once. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to come back in here, masking. We're going to grow 1, 2, 3, 4. sharpen a couple times. 1, 2, sharpen. Then we're going to invert. We're now going to subtract this. We're going to deflate it pretty deep. And then we're going to grow or shrink the masking just a little bit. And we're going to give it a one level of polish. Just to smooth that out, make it more distinct. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use the layer. We're going to make a couple cable ports. There. And then there. Oh. There. We're now going to use the rope tool as oh, the rope brush as our cables, starting from here, coming down to there. Nope, too big. Too small. And also, let's make sure that we have the laser mouse tool on for this. We want it to be nice and even. Going from the center here down to the center here. Okay, that's good, because what we're going to do is we're going to use the move tool to move this into place in here in just a second. And we're going to do it from here now. Okay. Hmm. That's right, I gotta polygroup them. Polygroups. Auto group. Okay. There we go. Now we're gonna do that so we can simply split the masked parts to get another tool. Okay, now using the move tool and transparency on, we're going to grab this one at this end and kind of pull it into that port, and we're going to grab this one and pull it down into that port, and then shrink this a bit, and alright, now let's make this a little bit bigger and grab this one and pull it into there. Now we're going to kind of pull these into the surface of the pauldron. And there's our pauldron. Give it a nice techie bit. The last thing to do is add in a couple on either side here, add on a couple more details, which we're going to use with the let's see, what's this? Okay, no. Trying to find one that I didn't download from somewhere, something that's easier to worry about, and apparently no. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and use the layer brush, but we're going to change its alpha. This is an alpha that I'm going to be using. That is no. View large icons. Okay. View large icons. Okay, we're going to give it, let's say this one. Subtract. Oh yeah, we gotta go back up to here. Is that good enough? Yeah, that's good enough. And then here. Okay, we're gonna merge this down. And we have our pauldron done. Now, I'm gonna get a little bit of soda, and then we're gonna start to numb those feet. Okay. No, Carlton. No. I'm trying to get this done. Go on. Yeah, there you go, little buddy. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to assume that the pants come down to just past the ankle here. Because yes, technically that is his foot, what we would call his foot. He's walking on his toes. He's got what's called a digitigrade stance. Like in digits, yeah. And we're going to drop to there. And then we're going to come back to this one. Okay. Make sure that I didn't get any of the fingers. And now we're going to get a bit of the back of the leg just so that we can Alright, now Alright, I need to get a little bit more of this. About to there. Now let's extract at 0.02. Accept. Get rid of the masking. Come back up to him, get rid of the masking. And now we're going to dynamesh it at 256. Okay. Now, before I do anything else, I'm going back up to here. I'm going to hide the hand because it's in the way. Okay, there we go. Now, let's smooth out the top of this. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use the move tool on the top of this part because we want to make sure that it doesn't sink the way we want it to make like it's sinking into the joint, not like it's bulging out from around it. Okay, frame out. Geometry subdivided a couple times. Merge down. Oh, yeah, that would help if I unhid the arm. Merge down. And dynamesh it. Oh, no, I didn't dynamesh it because I forgot to... Oh, there we go. Let's hide this. Now, smoothen out where it meets the legs. So it becomes pants legs and not exercise bands. Okay, frame out, and now it looks like he's wearing a bodysuit because we haven't added the belt yet. But we've got toes to make, and as part of that, we're going to have our base on so we can see what it's doing to these toes. Okay. Now we're going to start off with slash, and I don't mean the guitarist, and it's not going to be that intense. Oh, it is. All right, shrink this a little bit, and we're going to draw in the separators for the toes. Okay, move over, and okay, now what we're going to do from here is we're going to use inflate, and we're going to bulge out the ends of these toes. The reason for this, I'll show you in just a second. We're going to now go to the snake hook brush. Make it a little bit bigger. We're going to angle the feet as forward, slightly down. What we're going to do is we're going to grab here. No. First of all, too big. And grab here and pull out. And it's going to make our claws, our talons. They're frog-like talons, I should note. And the same thing goes over here. Okay. Now we're going back to inflate, shrinking it, and drawing in the foot tendons. And going to slash, not so intense, to draw around the base of these claws. There we go. Yeah, apparently there's an animated Bigfoot movie coming out. And at one point they make the mistake of telling him, crack a window. Okay, we have our feet. Now, just to make sure, let's go ahead and subdivide. Okay. Now we need to make his, actually let's go ahead and smooth out his crotch. Also, we're going to smooth out his chest area because this is still too spandexy. Now, Okay. Smooth out that edge, the corner of the peck here, because that was getting way too pointy. Okay. Now, he's looking a lot better than just a few minutes ago, less than an hour ago. We're going to now hide the hand on this side, the forearm, and we're going to make his belt. The way we're going to do this is we're going to kind of tilt it just a little bit. No. Okay. There we go. That helps emphasize the tilt of the hip and helps keep the look. You know, we got the shoulder tilt going here, and now we got the belt emphasizing the hip of the tilt of the hip. Go to subtool, extract that at point 2, accept, draw, go up to him, draw. Then what we're going to do, turn on transparency, shrink the mouse, and we're going to give him a fancy belt buckle. Almost like a superhero belt buckle. Okay. Alright. That's going to be our belt buckle. We're going to extract this at 0.03. No. And the belt itself, 256. Okay. Now, on the chest, we're going to give him some... Well, let me go ahead and unhide that. We're going to give him something right here. Some kind of decoration or something. So I'm thinking is, let's make it look like... Let's make it look like a military strip of ribbons. And so for that, what we're going to do is we're going to make 1, 2, 3. Then we're going back up and turning off Lazy Mouse and erasing down sides there and up in the center here. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to shrink it down even more, the mouse. We're going to add in a couple more lines. and then down the center here. Oh, down the center here. Now we're going to invert the masking, and we're going to pull in, and we're going to inflate it out until it looks like it'll be there. Now, masking, shrink, oh, blur. Let's blur the mask. Deformation, polish 1. Okay. That's our little metals that he's got. Now, in order to make him look a little bit more alien before we start putting in the wrinkles to his clothing, let's add in some little lumps and bumps. We're going to use inflate. No, we're going to use standard for that. And what we're going to do is we're going to start off. Let's turn off lazy mouse. Subtracting a moderately large portion. Say 3 on each forearm here. And then here. Then we're going back to add, but we're going to shrink it by 2. And actually, let's also increase it from 10 to 15 or so. No. Let's try that. Yeah. Okay. So here we have a couple lumpy nodes on the forearm. Once again, just to make it a bit less human. And we're going to take the advice from earlier of Largashbur, and what we're going to do is we're going to use snake hook. I'm going to pull up some there, just a couple. Okay. Now we need to add wrinkles. And then detail the hands. And that should be it. And then need a little bit more of this to keep going. No, because the back's covered in a shirt. I don't want it to be coming through the shirt. It doesn't make sense to me. It's a polyweave uniform, not rags. Okay, I think I'm going to do the hands before I do the wrinkles. So we're going to go back to inflate. we're going to make sure that the mouse is roughly the same size as the fingers. And it's at 10, good. Let's actually make that up to 12, because this is a bigger hand than usual. And then it's going to be burr, 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 wah, 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 wah. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then just a smooth over real quick. Then we're gonna 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Add in a bone there. Then we're gonna kind of build up the palm, because this one's big enough to actually have a reasonable palm. Okay. Now we're gonna do it on the hand on this one. And we hide the daggum base. It's in the way. Okay. Now, knuckles and tendons. 1, 2, 3, 4. And smooth out the back of the hand. Okay, the hand's done. We're going to add in a couple bumps on the head like we did on the forearms. We're also going to deflate deeper ear holes. There we go. Now, go back to standards, subtract. We're going to put these bumps. Oh, it helps if I hold it right. 1, 2, add. No, because that's not even. Here. Okay, there we go. Alright, now we're going to break open the clay build-up tool with the round, I said, with the round alpha. Make it a little bit bigger. Turn off lazy mouse and give it a, let's leave it at 20. We're going to use this, we're going to kind of draw on where the wrinkles are. The reason I did that was because I wanted a slightly lower resolution as I sit here and smooth out a whole lot of wrinkles. It's a lot easier when it's at a quarter of the number of wrinkles that you're going to be working with. Okay. At least Mom's not watching Project Runway anymore. She's now watching some kind of cooking show. And I don't mean, this is how you cook the food. I mean, oh, it's a cooking game show. Not game show, but reality show. Can they cook by the challenges given by the judges? Or are they going to be removed from the show? And one of them has apparently decided to use baby formula instead of condensed milk for one of their recipes, and it's creeping her people out, her fellow cooks. Okay. Okay. Yeah. And this is just getting the basic shape for these wrinkles, like I said. We're gonna come back and hit it with the no, let's hide these fingers and hand so I can get in here and do the crotch. Yay. Okay. And then shrink it down a little for the next bits of wrinkles. Okay. And then just a little bit of. So, let's see who people have been saying. Okay, not much. Bravo's Top Chef, whatever that is. That's what she's watching. Okay, frame out, and we can see where the wrinkles are going to be. Might need to smooth that out a little bit. Actually, there's not a lot we're going to need left to do to this. I'm going to start off by digging in underneath. Okay, now okay. And then in here we got to draw a little line deep there and deep here, and one underneath. And then we're coming in from here and coming under there, and under there. And actually, this last one. There. Frame out. Okay. We have our alien. Yay! Now let's. Oh, there's one last thing we need to do, really. We need to start adding in these seams. You know, make it look like he's actually, got this clothing on, and not just whatever. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to hide the belt and the pauldron. Okay, we got to smooth that out because I forgot to undo that when I made the belt buckle. Okay, so now with the seam brush on and moderately large, I'd have to make it bigger. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Which direction do we want to go with this brush? Okay, we need it bigger and a little bit deeper. Ah. And then one coming up down that way. Yeah. Now we're gonna come around from this side. We're gonna come around and then there. Bring it down there. There. Frame out. And now let's make everything visible. And the last thing to do is make one up to there. No, because we need to come up this way. There. Oh, yeah, that would help. And here we have our alien. Our size large alien. Okay. I guess you could make him the security guy. Okay, I'm gonna have to use one last thing. I gotta use the move topological tool because this part of the cable here is going a little bit too deep into the module. There we go. Much better. Now we're gonna frame back out, and we're gonna blend it all together by merging down. And then with the geometry, we're going to Dynamesh. Okay. Now, with 1.8 million polygons, we're going to go to our plugins, Decimation Master, and we're going to make this guy a little bit higher polygon than usual, just simply because he's a larger size and we don't want the polygons visible when printed. And did you see how much faster it did it than it was before? This computer's a lot faster. Yay! 100,011 triangles. So let's go up here, export. Meshes, free sculpt minis, broadcast miniatures, new alien. Let's call it alien crew member as our OBJ. And just remember, this is going to be size large, so this is about how big he'll be. So a lot of details like that, the chords and his pauldrons and the vent holes are going to be a lot easier to read than you might think. Even those little rivet holes will be a lot easier for it to read. Okay. So I guess it's time for this. Hold on just a second. Did it crash for anyone? Because I just went back to my window and took a look, and I was getting an error occurred with snow. So part of why I need a co-host, someone that actually talked to me, so I can actually hear someone saying, "Hey, you crashed," or "Hey, you forgot to turn it back onto the screenshot instead of the camera." Yeah, yeah. Well, now to let you know what I was referring to by the fancy bases and stuff, take a section that would be like 3 inches by 3 inches, and it's got like half buried, ruined, fallen walls, paving stones, the occasional jutting up chunk of masonry with runes carved in all of it, and like bit of grass here and there and stuff like that, and then cutter 9 holes out of it. Now, oh, yeah, I did go offline just now, but eh, glowing kitty here, yeah. And I don't know why, because I mean this is a brand new computer and stuff like that. So this is brand new, high end, not high end, but medium end gaming computer that just blows away all of the games I play on it. Go figure. And then, ow! Look at my fingers. That looks painful, especially this one. Yeah. Anyway, does anybody have any questions about war games, about sculpting, about painting, about role playing games? Any questions at all? Any of that? I know someone does, but I don't know who. Only partially and only in some joints. In other joints, I'm half jointed. My knees and my small of my back. Oh, this shoulder pops. You can't hear it, but it's clicking. But yeah, that's the old. I used to when I didn't have this, I could reach around behind my back and scratch my belly button. But now I can't even pretend to do it. That was when I was like 40. I could reach around behind my back and scratch my belly button. I could inhale deeply and you could see my heart beating. I was that skinny. Memphis, Tennessee, in the 70s and 80s, before Saturday morning cartoons began each Saturday morning, there was a show on the NBC affiliate WMC Channel 5 called Magic Land. And that's what you would watch before the cartoons started. Typical Saturday morning cartoons. And what Magic Land would do, hello Carlton, at the end, the guy who did the magic, because it was a magic show. And the guy who did it would say, "Now practice your exercises," and the exercises were that, and with each finger doing that. Yep, can't stop the Carlton. Can we stop you? Oh no. Carlton. The reason why, part of the reason most of my friends say if I had a D&D class, it would be Ranger. Yeah, he wants me to use the hand to pay. And he wants me to stop talking and just kiss him on top of the head. Blarg, blarg. Funny thing is, he likes bad singing. When I was a little bitty boy, my grandmother gave me a cute little toy. 5 bells. Oh, see, he likes bad singing, especially bad singing of old cheesy songs. Hmm. Okay, there you go. He could be like laying on over there on the box against the wall, and I start singing that song that badly, singing it badly, and anyway. So, any questions about gaming or miniatures or painting them? Hmm? Sculpting them? Future projects once the orcs are done? Sorry about that. I almost burped. And yes, I'm going to a con this weekend. Yay! Okay, you got. What do you got? What do you got for me? A request. What is your request? UV mapping. Number one, I don't use 3D Studio Max's mapping. There is a program, a third-party program I use called UV Layout. Um, Basically, I'm going to put the link in. It is not cheap. Well, it's kind of cheap, but it's not cheap cheap. That is what I use for mapping. It is incredibly fast. The reason I do that is because it's easier for me to do that and have a lot more control, like being able to orient the angle of the shells instead of relying on whatever random or algorithm that uh, ZBrush uses with UV Master. Sad to say. Anyway, it is 9:30. Um, Yeah, UV mapping is something that no matter what program I used to demonstrate it, it would only apply to that program. I can give advice on what you want to look for in a finished map, but that's about it. Yeah, well, it also depends. I mean, I used it to make a living, so it was more than more than good for what I was using it for. It's not so much needed unless you're using that technique of mine for doing patterns. But yeah, ZBrush's UV mapping, while it does make mapping that is brilliantly flattened and unwrapped, it's almost no control over what goes where. Yeah. With UV layout, what you do is you look. Well, tell you what. Let me go ahead and I'm going to start here. What we would do is we would load in type polygon, UV's new, and then we're going down to. We got to go up this way because I don't want to put anything like this on my main drive. Oh, come on. There we go. 3D printing home, meshes. Let's just go to one of the random pieces of the terrace, the the right hip. Now we've got this. This would be a bad thing to. Oh, that's right. This is really high poly count. We don't want to do this one. Let's do this. Let's load in the basic jointed base male. Okay. Oh, the basic male figure. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're first going to come down here. We're going to hit Control C. And drop that down. And you're hitting Control C to make these cuts. Enter. And Control D to yeah. Now we're going to now cut up the center of the neck, and then Shift S to split it. We're also going to remove the ear. And coming back in here, yeah, we still have those same two polygons to cut. Enter, drop, drop. Now, this is where I am just going to show how we're going to handle this. Now, these are the different shells. With the face, I'm going to just put the mouse on it and hit F. And there. Now, obviously, we got a problem. The eye sockets and the mouth, I mean, we got to take that back in. And cut the inside of the mouth out, for one. What? And then we're going to slice back that way so we have two segments. Drop, drop. Now we got to do it with the eye sockets. So it's going to be here, whoop, and then here. And we're going to split it from the outside. Drop. And we're going to do the same thing over here. Okay. And then obviously the geometry on this is not perfect. Drop. And then drop the face tip again. We go back into UV. Home. Now with the face, we put the mouse over it and hit F. Now we have an area of overlap here. We can put the mouse over it and hit 5 and smooth that out. Okay, and then we're going to hit Control and use the middle mouse button to move these vertexes. Just to kind of give a... Whoop, wrong one. And that's just to give a little bit of gap at the mouth. The rest of it, we're going to hit F for flatten. Select all of them, and they all gave one level of flatten. Optimize, and run, and see what we get. Oops. Let's select only these, so that this one's not affected. Now we do it. And there's our mapping. Obviously, we need to finish that one, so we hit... Actually, let's hit Shift F. This is going to get us a different result, because we've got some problems here. So Shift F, and it does a full automatic. Now what we do is we make sure these are oriented the way we want. These are the inner mouth bits. These are the eye sockets. These are the ears. Let's rotate them to be vertical to where an ear would be. These are the segments of the inner mouth that now is we're going to move, scale, and rotate and align two axes. Okay, that didn't work. I prefer how I originally had them. So we go to Pack, Best, Bleed of 3, Show Style Coverage, Don't Resize Shells, Pack All. Oh, Resize Shells, Pack All. And it sat there and experimented with different versions until it could fit it as close as possible. Now, because there's a lot of gap thanks to the face and the head, we have space to maneuver these around so that they're not right next to each other. But we have a nicely mapped version of our head. And just to give it a little bit of space, autofit. So that gives us that little gap there at the corners. It took me that long to map that face. That's it. You have that much control that quickly. Awesome, huh? There's a reason why it got really popular with the community of people who do consumer tier, hobbyist tier 3D content. Now, of course, I wasn't done. I mean, I still had the whole rest of the body to map. But that just showed you how it was done. I don't need to do all of it to show you. And that's pretty much the entire workflow. Put in cuts where you think you need to have the UV map shells, drop it to the mapping, flatten it. Oh, look, there's problems with the mouth and the eyes. Bring it back to 3D space and cut out those portions that you need, or cut in slits where you might need them. Like, if I had just tried to flatten the back of the head without cutting that slit down the neck, it would have stretched one set of polygons and just gone. So by putting that slit there, it let it open out, and you had the back of the head. Oh, and yes, is a technical term. Hey, Shinju. Yeah, nuzzle your daddy. Good girl. Any other questions? No, it's a technical term. You can't trademark technical terms. One thing about UV layout. Really high polygon things like that shell from the body of the thoracic, that the right hip, those take a long time to flatten because it's calculating every polygon. Yes, you get to watch it go and change colors. Red means it's too small in proportion to the rest of the polygons. Blue means it's too big. And that kind of pale mint green means it's just right. It's Goldilocks zone. Although why it's green instead of gold, I don't know. So it's like red is too tiny, pink is a little small, green is good, light blue is a little large, and deep blue is big. Excuse me. Well, it's quarter till. Oh, my brother's actually co-chairing the con I'm going to tomorrow, so he's already at the hotel preparing everything. So I'm going to have to go soon to go take my brother's dog out for walkies. It's an older dog named Buster who's or Rascal, who's scared of most people, but gee, he likes me. What a shock, huh? Mhm. Okay. Anyway, well, yeah, but I've got to drive about 7 miles north of here to go take the dog for a walk, come back in, and come drive all the way back. Beavis. But anyway, yeah. I broke down and got one more Games Workshop wash just because it would give me a little bit more variation in my skin tones. I got the Reichland Flesh Shade. Now the big difference between a Reichland Flesh Shade and where is it? The Army Painter Flesh Wash. Reichland Flesh Shade is a bit redder. You can even tell in this poorly done. I mean, if you look at the bottoms of the bottles, this is slightly redder and this is slightly yellower. Did I just jump? Yeah, I just jumped. Anyway, I'm gonna do the whole bit of holding up the hand and going habita 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 5 4 3 2 1 gaboobie. That was Katubi. And when I get to one, go and goodbye. All right. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Would the oldest con in the world be considered a long con? If you don't know what I'm talking about, you don't know about con games.